We are going to have to incorporate technology into these industries that have been around for a while so that they can make it to the next level. Technology is systemic in our company, like it's how we look through everything, in the same way data is how we look through these things. We are product-led in the sense that we focus on these end-user experiences as well as the profitability and the fundamentals of our business. But we focus on these end-user experiences and how we deliver value, and we refine and iterate on our products accordingly, and that's what sets our prioritization.
The following is brought to you by Thryv, the end-to-end client experience platform that helps you get the job, manage the job, and get credit.
Hey, this is Gordon Henry at Winning on Main Street, and this week you get to meet David McFarland. David is the CEO of Coterie Insurance, the co-founder and CEO of an insurance company that targets the small business sector. Codery uses industry-leading tech, product innovation to enhance the insurance buying process. Their tagline is, "We use modern technology to make buying small business insurance easy." Immediately prior to founding Codery, David was chief actuary and head of insurance product and pricing at ClearCover, personal auto insurtech company in Chicago. Welcome, David.
Thanks, Gordon. It's good to be here.
So break it down for us. Our audience are small business owners and would-be entrepreneurs, want-to-be entrepreneurs. What does Codery do, and how does it help the small business person?
Yeah, so what we do is we bring speed, simplicity, and service to the commercial insurance space. And right now, whether you're a small business or you're helping small businesses place this insurance, it's complicated, to say the least. Speed, simplicity, and service are not really there. You have to go through long underwriting cycles. If you're an agent, you're going through these things, trying to help get these small businesses a policy, and you basically feed information to a black box, and they say no, with no real understanding of why. And what we do is we really focus on utilizing data and technology to empower our partners, empower these intermediaries who can help these small businesses, which ultimately helps the small business, right? Like insurance is super important for these businesses to ensure that they can withstand catastrophes, other issues, that may put them out of business. And we do this in fairly novel, data-centric ways that help these agents and small businesses get policies in minutes as opposed to weeks.
Okay. So if I'm a small business, should I go to the Codery site to buy my insurance?
You can. Small business insurance is complicated, and it's probably best to go through some of our partners. Most of the time, small businesses feel a little bit more comfortable when they go through an agent or someone that they trust. We also integrate into, we partner with Thryv, we partner with other partners who are more non-traditional, where it's right there for the small business, is in their accounting platform, whatever it is, to where we can work with the information that's already there to make buying the insurance really easy on the end customer.
Yeah. Got it. So tell us more broadly, what should small business owners think about when it comes to insurance? Where do they make mistakes? What should they do differently?
Probably one of the biggest things is talk to someone who's knowledgeable, right? You can call us, and like our team is licensed agents. They can help you, but talk to an agent of your choice. They're ready and willing to help you. There's a lot of good stuff there. Probably the common stuff that people miss out on is just getting insured. Like 30 to 40% of small businesses just aren't actually insured, and that's a big miss, because with a simple business owner's policy, you get both property coverage, right? Coverage for your building, for your business personal property, like your laptop, any loose items that you have running around, but also liability coverage, right? Like basically like someone who may be trying to sue you either because they hurt themselves, they hurt something that they own on your property, or maybe even like personal damage, right? Like your business tweeted something negative about them, right? Like, and the coverage that is provided under a business owner's policy covers all of that, which is super important for these small businesses.
Talk a little bit about your company. I noticed in your materials, your website, you talk about being disruptive, which is kind of a sexy word these days. Everybody wants to be disruptive. What about the work that you do in insurance is disruptive?
That's a good question. I like to think of it as like we make insurance better, and it's really tough for the legacy players to make insurance truly better. And this doesn't. It's not because they're bad people. It's because they have limitations and opportunity costs, right? They have a lot going right now that's generating a decent amount of revenue for them, and it's built on systems that it's going to take a lot of money to bring up to the technological standards where they can integrate places like us. And so we have this massive opportunity where we can come in and change how we distribute the insurance product and how we can essentially manage it from a technological standpoint, just on much lower expense ratios and utilizing tons of data so we can free up the partners to do what they're good at, right? Like we can collect all that data and all that information so our partners can focus on basically like coverage recommendations and building the relationships as opposed to like data entry, right? Which they do not want to do. Instead, we take that over for them. And what this does is it brings the entire policy binding process from like weeks in some instances to minutes or even seconds sometimes. And that's just, I mean, that's disruptive is often like 10x. I mean, that's more than 10x, right? Like that's truly novel in what we're doing with the space. And again, we're able to do it just because we built things in the right way from a technological standpoint, and we're able to control things from an insurance standpoint. That makes a lot of difference. Right.
Yeah, I noticed you call your field not insurance, but insurtech. What is insurtech?
That's a philosophical question that I do not feel qualified to answer. I'll give it a shot. I mean, basically, it's a combination of insurance and technology where the two come together. I'm a believer that every industry, are we going to blend every industry with the word tech? Like, yeah, this is the natural evolution of industries. We are going to have to incorporate technology into these industries that have been around for a while so that they can make it to the next level. Technology is systemic in our company. Like it's how we look through everything. The same way data is how we look through these things. So, we're a profit-led organization as opposed to a growth or insurance-led organization. And what I mean by that is, some insurance companies are heavily focused on the growth of direct written premium, right? Sales, right? And that sets the priorities for that business. Whereas some are more insurance product led, where it's like it's all about combined ratio. Combined ratio is what matters, loss ratio, stuff like that. And that's actually is a fairly intelligent strategy as well. We are product led in the sense that we focus on these end user experiences as well as the profitability and the fundamentals of our business. But we focus on these end user experiences and how we deliver value iteratively to those end users, and we refine and iterate on our products accordingly, and that's what sets our prioritization.
So if I can ask, and I realize I can't totally predict, but it does feel like we're going through a very unusual period now in the U.S. and maybe globally. I would call it turmoil, with inflation spiking to rates we haven't seen in decades, interest rates surely going up, the stock market, at least January, extremely volatile, supply chain problems. You see these pictures on TV of all the boats in Long Beach sitting in the harbor, waiting to get, offload their stuff. Employers having trouble attracting and keeping workers, something I don't remember when I was a kid ever, please take a job. Are you bullish on where you see the U.S. economy going?
I'm generally bullish on the U.S. economy long term. We have a really good fundamental system and reasonable increases to GDP every year, which is beneficial. But with that said, there's some interesting things that are happening. So, and insurance plays a pretty key role in all of this. Insurance is a beautiful business because what we're essentially doing in insurance is we're borrowing money and eventually paying it back to the policyholder in terms of paying out claims, right? That's what we do. The time between those two events, right? We basically get to sit on money, and any money that's left over after paying claims and then handling all of our expenses is called underwriting profit or loss, right? Some people operate at underwriting. But if you operate at an underwriting profit, let's think about this for a second. What we're doing is we're borrowing money and we pay back an amount, and the net of all the expenses, if it's actually less, right, than what we collected, we make money off of the money that we borrowed and sat on.
Right.
So we're literally borrowing money at a negative interest rate.
Right.
And what do we do with that money when we borrow it? We invest it, right? And so it's a fascinating business model where you get to borrow money at a negative interest rate to invest, right, over a period of time. Fascinating business model. Now, what happens when we look at this stuff in aggregate is insurance companies take that money that they borrow and they put it in safe investments, right? But right now, or the last few years, all the safe investments, bonds, have been yielding nothing, right? Largely due to quantitative easing, suppressed interest rates, all those types of things. And now we're seeing interest rates go up. So what's going to happen, right? Like now, there's the opportunity for insurance companies to make potentially more money off of their float, which means they can actually reduce prices for people, right? Because they're making more money off of the float, right? The money that they're sitting on. So it could theoretically lower prices. However, we have issues with contractors and inflation, all these other things. So are those going to be offset? It's a really interesting world right now in the insurance space with all of these things going on. This next year will probably be a unique one.
Right. Well, that's why they need smart guys like you to figure it out, right?
We're trying.
We're just going to take a quick 30-second break, and we're going to be back with more from David McFarland. Don't go away.
Hey everyone, this is Corey from SB Pace, and I'm a co-host of BizQuick Podcast and Defeat the Chaos radio show on the Voice America Business Channel. We had a great time recording our episode of Winning on Main Street with Gordon, which aired on January 13th. If you're looking for some quick and actionable tips for your small business, be sure to check out that podcast with Gordon and our other content, which you can find on sbpace.com.
And we're back with David McFarland, the CEO of Coterie Insurance. We were just having a really interesting conversation about how insurance companies look at risk and trends in the economy and so forth, all heavy duty stuff. I want to maybe step back and just talk about you and your business just from a business perspective. I think I read Codery was founded in 2018. So you're about 4-year-old business now. So you yourselves are just kind of a little bit past the startup phase, you might say. How's it going? Like, what's been your trajectory as a startup business?
Yeah, thankfully, it's going pretty well. I think we had a very similar start, like many startups, where in the beginning you go through the hard work, you raise a little bit of money to get off the ground, and you see some, maybe early signs of success, and you realize, maybe there may have been false positives. Then you kind of figure out certain things, and then you start seeing that rapid growth. And thankfully, we have experienced that, and we were able to get some really amazing investors who also saw the not only the strong growth that we had at the time, but the potential of what we're building toward. And we've been able to recruit some amazing capital as well as investors who have been crucial in what we built thus far. So it's thankfully been really positive. We have I also got to highlight the team. The team is just second to none. We've got an amazing team blending insurance talent, tech product talent, obviously growth and marketing talent, as well as data folks who have really brought the vision to life of making speed, simplicity, and service just change the commercial insurance space.
Wow, that's great. How many employees do you have now?
A little over 140.
Wow. Okay. So you guys have really grown. That's it's quite a decent number. And is this your first time sort of being the overall boss of 140 people? Yeah.
It is. I had some really good experience at my prior startup, ClearCover. I was chief actuary, head of insurance product over there, and worked alongside Kyle, the CEO. We had a really good relationship together. He still helps me out with a lot of things. They're a few years ahead of us, so it's fantastic because he can relay his learnings. He's grown exponentially as well, and we get to kind of get a glimpse of the future. And he can give us some good pointers.
Yeah, great. We just have a few minutes left. I wanted to ask you a couple of questions about your own sort of personal growth, which people I think are always interested in hearing. You're obviously a very successful person. You've had a tremendous career growth. You look pretty young. I didn't ask your age, but you look pretty young. Who have been some of your mentors? And maybe can you share a story or two of sort of how you got helped along the way?
Yeah, happily. I mean, I'll point out Kyle Nakasuchi, the CEO of ClearCover. He and I partnered on working on ClearCover in 2016, and I came to him and told him, like, look, ultimately, I want to start something on the commercial line space. And he took me in, taught me what I needed to know to start a company, and then even after I left, he continued to support me in that. So having people who are just willing to take the time, invest in you, and act selflessly in that respect, that's huge, and I benefited immensely from that. Also, there's another guy, John Ward. He's somewhat well known in the insurance space. He had a really successful insurance benchmarking company, and he put in a lot of time. When I first met him, when I was at Jewelers Mutual, he was on the board there, and we worked on a couple of kind of like side company projects together where we were building a neat little innovative company. And then when I left, we stayed in touch. He just put a lot of time in teaching me about fundamentals around business and asking hard questions. Like, if you don't have someone in your life who's willing to sit with you and ask you really, really hard questions that are going to make you reflect and think like, man, I really don't know what I'm talking about here, then you're doing yourself a disservice. Like, get those people in your life, and you will see a lot of growth, because you're probably not going to do it to yourself. And then, this will sound cliche, but lastly, my basketball coach from when I was in high school, Steve Smithwick, he just put a lot of time into me when I didn't have a clue about my own life. And he was an entrepreneur. He started an amazing drywall company that just did exceedingly well. And he's always been there to, kind of point me in the right direction, make me think of good fundamentals. Other than that, Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett, those two guys are fantastic. I love their folksy wisdom. So I'm a big fan of both of them.
Awesome. Well, last question I want to ask you. You're a busy guy. You've got 140 people you got to keep track of over there at the business. Do you have any time for fun, and what do you do for fun?
I have no time for fun.
Okay, well, sorry I asked.
No, I do. I make time for fun. So first off, I have 4 kids. I have an 8-year-old boy, 5, almost 6-year-old girl, a 3-year-old boy, and a 9-month-old boy. So 3 boys and a girl. My wife is very patient with me and supports me like you wouldn't believe. She is probably the biggest supporter of Codery that no one really knows about, right? And we goof around a lot. I'm a big basketball player. I love playing basketball. I like running, working out, rock climbing. Those are the things that I probably do the most of when I'm not goofing around with my kids. We all have a fun time goofing around together as a family. A lot of family time.
That's great. Well, sounds like a very full life and a busy one, but sounds like a lot of fun, very successful. Well, David, thank you so much for stopping by and sharing a little bit of your story with us. Really appreciate it. Great to have you on the show.
Oh, thanks, Gordon. It was great being here.
And if you enjoyed this podcast, please tell a friend or colleague to subscribe, and please leave us a 5-star review. We'd really appreciate it. Until next time, make it a great week.